Net zero. Have you ever heard about the term net zero and wondered what it actually means? Or you've heard people try to differentiate or mix up the term net zero with carbon neutrality. In this video, I'm going to explain net zero in simple terms, differentiate net zero from carbon neutrality, and explain how we can achieve net zero. What is net zero? Net zero is a state in which greenhouse gas emissions are reduced to the lowest feasible level. Then the unavoidable emissions are then handled through permanent carbon removal methods, which involve afforestation, reforestation, and so on. Now, to break that down into simple terms, I'm going to use the analogy of a building that produces waste. Let's say your building produces 10 bags of waste every week. One option is to keep on producing that waste and pay someone to deal with it. While the second option is to reduce the waste by reusing and recycling. Then the remaining waste is dealt with. The second option is exactly what net zero is. You first reduce the emissions, then you balance out or reduce or handle the remaining emissions through permanent carbon removal methods. To understand net zero a little more, we're going to take a look at greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are gases present in the Earth's atmosphere that absorb and trap heat, thereby keeping the Earth warm enough for it to be habitable. Without these gases, the Earth will be too cold for humans to live in. Now, the problem with these gases are that anthropogenic or human activities such as deforestation, cement production, and the likes are increasing the concentration of these gases in the atmosphere, thereby leading to global rise in temperatures and climate change of the Earth. As these greenhouse gases increase in the atmosphere, the question now is, how do we reduce these gases? This is where two terms come into play, net zero and carbon neutrality. Now let's take a look at carbon neutrality. Now let's take a look at these terms. Carbon neutrality has to do with balancing out the amount of carbon emissions. But net zero has to do with reducing these emissions first before balancing out these emissions. So carbon neutrality, you just balance out the emissions. But for net zero, you first look for a way to reduce these emissions before balancing out the remaining emissions. For example, if an organization emits carbon, it can offset these carbon emissions through tree planting or carbon credits. But net zero goes further. It looks for a way to reduce these emissions before balancing them out. Why is the world paying so much attention to net zero? This is because climate change is no longer a future problem. It's already affecting buildings, structures, and different parts of the world. We are seeing more intense heat conditions, severe storms, rise in sea level, and global warming. Scientific projections indicates that if these greenhouse gases continue to rise and get more concentrated, climatic conditions would only get worse. And that's why net zero provides a framework for handling this exact problem. So how do we actually get net zero? The first step is to reduce these greenhouse gas emissions in buildings. In construction of buildings, this could include better orientation, taking advantage of natural ventilation, climate responsive design, and improved insulation of these buildings. By designing and constructing this way, we'll be able to reduce the energy use and the energy demand, thereby reducing these emissions, these greenhouse gas emissions. The second step is to use the move to cleaner energy, which is renewable energy. Renewable energy includes energy includes solar energy, hydro energy, thermal energy, and wind energy. And then finally, for the emissions that cannot be eliminated, carbon removals and offsets can be used at this stage. Now notice the 3 steps. The first is reduce the emissions. Second is replace with cleaner energy, that's renewable energy. Then the third is offset the remaining emissions. That is the net zero approach. So let's recap. Net zero means reducing greenhouse gas emissions and elimination of the remaining gas emissions after reduction. Secondly, net zero is different from carbon neutrality because it prioritizes reducing these emissions before balancing out these emissions. Finally, achieving net zero for the built environment involves reducing energy demand, transition to cleaner energy sources, and balancing out the remaining greenhouse gas emissions. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, like the video, and let me know in the comments if you think net zero is achievable. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.